Hey everyone, it's Mari. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I have a scrapbooking project here for the Scrapbook Nerd online shop and blog. And this week over at the blog, the creative team is working on projects with a fall theme and fall colors. And so I'm going to be scrapping this photo here that was taken last fall of my daughter and her husband. And I'm going to be using some Vicki Boutin field notes and some Vicki Boutin mixed media products. So I'm starting off here with a piece of basil marshmallow cardstock here, and also I'm using one of the newer stencils from Vicki Boutin and her stencil brush. I'm just brushing through some of the art crayons onto my white cardstock, and I'm just trying to put some kind of fall colors down here just to get that whole color scheme going. Now this ends up taking quite a few twists and turns. I started off with a 12 by 12 layout, but I end up changing it to an 8.5 by 11 layout. Now I do have a lot of different sized albums in my craft space. I've got a Project Life album on the go. I've got a mini album on the go right now. I've actually got a couple of mini albums on the go. I've got 12 by 12 regular albums. I've got a 9 by 12 album. I've got quite a few that are on the go. I've also got some traveler's notebooks as well that I'm working through. The reason why I do that is because when I get into my craft space, I don't always feel like doing just 12 by 12, right? It just really opens up a lot of different possibilities. And your canvas size sometimes is just really kind of defines well, for me, it kind of is part of the mood that I'm in, I guess, and what I feel like doing. And so for today, I started out with this 12 by 12, but it just wasn't really working out for me. I added that flower piece there, and I added kind of like that foliage piece. And then I ended up adding one of the moth or butterfly stencils down below that. And then it just sort of like from there, I just couldn't make it work. I couldn't make the design sort of flow. And so at that point, I ended up deciding to change it to a smaller layout. So here you can see I'm just adding another floral piece here. And so far I'm really loving the looks of this. And I kind of had an idea of doing kind of like some paper chunks over to the left and then doing this mixed media here. And then I add the moth or the butterfly, and I'm just like, oh, okay, now what? I wasn't really sure where to go with it. It just didn't work. It didn't flow properly. And I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you before, but I guess this is kind of an example of how you can deal with that. For me, I just went with the smaller size of a layout, and it ends up working in the end. And I'll just kind of talk you through what I ended up doing. So I'm still adding some stenciling here to this butterfly. And what I wanted to do was kind of layer the colors. So I started out with that first color there, which is kind of more the greens, and then I went and put a little bit of the orangey tone on top of that, and now I'm layering on a little bit of lighter green. So you can see how that looks and whether or not that looks like something you'd like to try. I actually end up covering up a lot of that butterfly anyways in the end, just because I change the layout quite a bit, or the plan for the design. So now what I've decided to do is put those two larger pieces at the top of the layout. So I've decided to turn the layout and now go with more of a vertical down the middle. So I'm going to put some more mixed media down the center there. And now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to design this like this now. Then I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. Just kidding. I'm going to switch it up, but then I switch it back again. So yeah, I went through a lot of different options here, and just looking at what I really wanted, what I was feeling like this design would look best as. So I'm taking a couple pieces of the pattern paper from the Field Notes collection. I really love that one notebook type paper, the ledger paper from the collection, and it's kind of got some distress look on it. So I'm going to put a little strip of that at the top, and then the kind of pink watercolory paper, the orangey tones there at the top, just as that strip, and it's kind of torn so that it just looks really distressed, and I like how that looks. Now I'm getting my trimmer out here. This is my crop trimmer, and I love this trimmer, by the way. I don't peel it out very often when I'm filming just because it's a little bit larger, but I do really love using it. And it's great when you have to trim just a tiny little bit off. I end up taking off more than just that tiny little strip, but at first I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. Now here you can see I've sized this down to an 8.5 by 11, and I love that so much more. It just seemed to just work, and I like that. Now I'm using a Crafters Workshop stencil. This is the Script Dot stencil, and I'm just putting some of Vicky's iridescent glaze through that down through where I have the stenciling done, just to add some texture there. And then I'm just going back to that ledger paper again, and I'm going to use a piece of that to mat my photograph, just to tie that all in. I'm just going to cut that roughly with my scissors here, and I am going to put a little bit of craft foam on the back of that, just so it has a little bit of dimension off the layout, and we'll pop that up a little bit. So I'm just laying that on there just for placement right now, but I will end up putting some craft foam behind that photo. And then I'm just going into the chipboard from Field Notes. I love this chipboard sticker set. It's so cool. There's so many cool things on there, and I'm going to use that border piece at the top just to add some more interest to the top there. I love that little pop of black, and I am going to put a little more black here with the title using one of Vicky's puffy phrase stickers from another sticker sheet here from the collection. So there's that craft foam. That's just some sticky craft foam from Walmart, and I'm just sticking that down. I've put a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back of that, so I'm just going to put a paperweight on there just for a few seconds to make sure that that's going to stick. And I do end up adding a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back of that chipboard piece, because I always like to just make sure I do that so that the chipboard doesn't fall off. It tends to do that inside your page protectors. And so I'm just going to get that stuck down, and then I'm going to grab that phrase sticker here. This one's beautiful, obviously, and I just really love how that adds that pop of black to the photo and just creates a little more of a focal spot for my photograph here. That paperweight still sitting on there just to make sure that that glue, the liquid glue that I use there, is just adhering down behind that photograph. And I'm actually going to take some of the little black puffy stickers from the sticker sheet there as well, the phrase sticker sheet, and add those on as just a little bit of a pop of black in a few other little places here as well in the layout. And I'm going to add some die cuts down the center there as well from the die cut pack. So you'll see me here just adding one of those butterflies, one of those floral pieces, and a little circular die cut piece as well at the bottom, which I'm just going to trim off a little bit. And that's going to add that little bit of detail down the center. I thought I might add this little piece at the top, but I don't think I end up leaving that there. I just felt like it sort of got lost with that triangle banner chipboard piece at the top. And now you'll see here that I've added those little black dots, and I'm just taking a couple of the little phrase stickers as well and adding them in. So I'm just going to get those embellishments stuck down here, and those couple little phrase stickers poked in there by those embellishments. And liking the way that this is looking so far. I really like how this turned out. I do really like doing a smaller scrapbooking layout sometimes. It's just a lot less space to design what you want in those different areas. And sometimes that comes together really quickly too, but it just sort of depends on the mood, I guess, that I'm in, like I mentioned before. So here you can see I'm just taking some more of those little phrase stickers from that Vicky Boutin phrase sticker sheet. I love those. I really like that they're white. It gives you the opportunity to add a little bit of mediums to those, or a little bit of media to that. If you want to colorize them in some way, you can do that. And I'm just going to finish adding those in, and that's going to be it. So check out the blog today over at Scrapbook Nerd, or I should say check it out on Friday. There's going to be all of the creative teams projects with the fall colors for this week. So thanks so much for stopping by today, guys. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you again another time. Bye-bye.